October HIB report for the 2022-23 school year. Number 2 is the first reading of the November HIB report. Number 3 is the second reading and adoption of several policies that were on the first reading before. The virtual plan policy, Board of Ed website accessibility policy, and the mere virtual plan regulation. Number 4 is attachment A, and it's simply codifying the revisions to the school calendar that we just mentioned under education, or negotiation, sorry. And specifically that Monday, June 19th will be the last day for students and education staff.
I have a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Ms. King, will you poll the board, please?
Mr. Eisenmaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fishback?
Yes.
Mr. Giganti?
Yes.
Mrs. Pearl?
Yes.
Mr. Petroselli?
Yes.
And Mrs. Dawson?
Yes. Finance Committee, agenda items 1 through 9 represent the Finance Committee's recommendation. I'm not going to use this walking. First one is the Treasurer's Report for the month of November. Second is Secretary's Report. 3 is budget transfers. 4, Secretary certification of budgetary line items. 5 is Board certification of budgetary line items. 6 is the bills list is indicated in the agenda. 7 is a resolution to reimburse the teaching staff job expenses as attached to the finance attachment A. 8 is the participation in the thesis, which is the cooperative pricing system for natural gas through May 31st, 2020. And 9 is to accept the donation of $5,957.56 from the wrestling program from the Wrestling Parents Association. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Thanks for the parents.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
Yeah, I was just going to say, wrestling really took a hit over COVID. I know it was the one sport that just really did not continue. So I think it's fantastic that the kids, the boys and the girls, we have a lot of girl wrestlers at the high school, and the parents are passionate about it and they're helping it stay and thrive.
Excuse me, hold on, please.
Mr. Giganti?
Yes.
Mrs. Fishback?
Yes.
Mr. Eisenmaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Pearl?
Yes.
Mr. Petroselli?
Yes.
And Mrs. Dawson?
Yes. Facilities and security.
Agenda items 1 and 2 represent the Facilities and Security Committee's recommendations. We voted on as a group. Be resolved that the Calhoun Board of Education accept the November 2022 Emergency Drill Report as per Facilities Attachment A. Number 2, in order to meet the reporting and updating requirements of the district's long-range facilities plan, the Calhoun Board of Education resolves as follows. We hereby request that the New Jersey Department of Education change the current status of the long-range facilities plan from the approved status to amendable status, and to authorize the district's school business administrator, to perform the necessary amendments to update the district's long-range facilities plan to meet the 5-year plan, to meet the 5-year reporting requirement in accordance with the procedure set forth by the NJDE. And to authorize the district's school business manager to submit the updating long-range facilities plan in accordance with the requirements of the New Jersey Department of Education.
Motion?
Second.
Discussion?
I did. What's the difference between those statuses? The approved and the
Well,
Right now, we have an approved long-range facility plan. When I send this in, is the amended plan. And they will approve it, and 2 months later, I'll have an approved long-range facility. It's a fluid plan. It's something that was started probably in this district 15 years ago. You add projects to it, you take projects off. So it's not something that's set in stone, it's something that grows and when the district
Changes.
changes.
literally amendment.
Yes.
That's why in June, since it was a board call, Ms. King and I discussed the revised, let's say, the school year, it's, coming in real calculated for us. Versus what it is that we're doing, and who takes action on the 23-24 budget, that would change it for us as well. So when we talk about capital projects,
Mr. Petroselli?
Yes.
Mrs. Perrella?
Yeah.
Mrs. Fishback?
Yes.
Mr. Eisenmaker?
Yes.
Mr. Gattisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Donaldson?
Yes. Okay, committee reports. There's nothing in the committee of the whole, so I'm on committee reports. It's not?
Personnel planning, we're meeting again in the new year, but we cover all personnel items.
Education?
I think we've already gone over some of the most exciting things from our education meeting. But we discussed the teacher on assignment that Mr. Mango brought up before, which is basically a substitute principal position. It's optional, open to any teachers to apply that are interested in the position. There's no additional stipend. But in the case that we need a substitute principal in the building, that teacher would be the go-to, and then a regular substitute would come in and take over their class. Then we discussed tuition-based students. So we've been discussing that for a while. I think we're ready to actually make a bigger move on it soon. We're coming up with a criteria, making a pamphlet to get that program moving. We revisited an ELA course. We talked about in general, not specifically a course, but in general, we're doing more of a grammar and mechanics focus. We talked about that a little bit at our last meeting as well. So we have an IXL grammar program that we're bringing in as a pilot for grades 6 to 8 from January to June, much as the same way I think most of us are familiar with the IXL math. This is a grammar program that will allow you to test your skills at home on the computer, do more additional skill practice if necessary. And then at the end, we're going to do an audit in April and see if we want to continue it for next year, and we'll do a training in January in order to roll out the program. We also talked about the graphic novel class that's going to be new this year, and revised the public speaking class, which is a class we used to offer. We haven't offered in the past couple of years, but it's going to be revised to include podcasts, digital broadcasting. It's going to be reinstated as an option for the fall for students to sign up for it. We talked about a genre class, a dystopian novel study elective, which would be a half-year class. Genre, like dystopian novels. Yeah, because apparently there has been a lot of demand in our students for that specific genre, which actually is one that I had a phase that I read a bunch of those for a while. It's going to be a half-year course. If there's enough enrollment, then we'll write the curriculum over the summer. So if there's enough enrollment, we'll offer the course, we'll have the curriculum written. If there's not enough enrollment, then we're not going to bother with the curriculum writing. Then we talked about J3 and J4 students. They received credit from William Patterson. We talked about an opportunity for publishing, but we're going to put that on hold for a minute while we do a little more research into it. And then we talked about this 5-year plan, which has been my baby. Everybody who's come to meetings has heard me talk about this 5-year plan for, it seems like 5 years, because it's only been 3. It got put on the back burner, obviously, during COVID, when we didn't even know what the next week's plan was going to look like, when everything was changing. But this is pretty much the best parting present I could receive. I want to thank Mr. Buser, Mrs. Chigarello, and all of the people who worked really hard on this plan. I really appreciate it, Jody. Thank you. She came in, something we've been talking about for years. She's like, I'm going to make this happen. She jumped on it, got the right people connected up, and I think it's really a thing of beauty as a student, a parent of a kid who is in the 11th grade currently. I found the whole thing incredibly confusing and just overwhelming because it's my first child going through. I didn't understand what the options were, what the prerequisites were. That, she wasn't sure what they were, and the way this is laid out is just so beautiful. We were in the meeting and I was like, wait, we offer that course? I had no idea. It's just so easy to look at, so easy to understand, and it does two of the things that we've been talking about for years now, which is showcases our schools. We have amazing schools. We don't always have the best PR. So this is a fantastic way to showcase our schools. It gets the information to families in 7th grade, which is amazing, before they're even looking at other high schools, other opportunities outside of the district to bring them in and really show off what we have now in the way that 8th grade open house did, but even sooner, so we can get them excited. Also, Mr. Buser made an excellent point. It's a great way to motivate kids, because if you have a kid who's like a smart student, but just kind of like going along, if they see that, oh wait, if I get into the honors class, then I can take these other classes, and you know, that there is a trajectory that you really want to set yourself up for success, and maybe you do want to challenge yourself, and you have all of these opportunities if you do so. And if you're not a super strong academic student, we still have a lot of really interesting opportunities. We have a graphic novel course, you know, we have a lot of elective courses and a lot of different levels, so maybe you're really strong in math but not so much in English. There's so many opportunities to personalize the content to yourself, and maybe you change your mind as things go on. So this is definitely a fluid document. We don't expect 7th graders to know what they want to graduate doing, but it's just such a great way for them to learn how to begin with the end in mind, work backwards, which is what I always talk about too, so that they're not surprised, and that's a great way in life to really teach them. It's a life skill. A lot of us, you know, in businesses and our jobs have to think, this is where I want to end up, how do I get there, go backwards. Kids go to college, we found that sometimes they're running into problems with that because they didn't realize what the prerequisites were. This will really, you know, show them how to do that, begin with the end in mind, start. So I'm just so excited about this, so grateful for everyone who put in so many extra hours on top of your regular hours of job to make this happen, and in such a thoughtful way, laid out so nicely. I think it's going to be really helpful to the students and parents, and even the faculty. I think it makes a much easier connection for like the middle school counselors to have a chance to see what the high school counselors have to offer and what courses we have. Thank you.
Sorry.
The IXL application for grammar, so that was, because I know we talked about in November about, they were saying how the switch away from phonics and grammar was showing, so this is kind of way to remediate it. I'm actually personally very excited about this. Because I have definitely a child that needs some help, and maybe a break. Maybe 5, 2 or 6 years. Okay, thank you. All right, policy.
We did not meet this one.
Finance, we did either, and I know we did last year, so we'll have to talk about reorganization. Securities and facilities.
Yeah, we did have a meeting. I did not update the board in our minutes yet, but we are in the process now of a long way to upgrading our cell service with the possibility of installing cell phone towers. We have a quote right now for installing small cell phone antennas on each of the 3 buildings here, and also one on Stony Brook. But we're also looking into the possibility of having one large antenna to cover these 3 buildings here, and having the possibility of maybe the town deferring some of that cost because it would be beneficial to the entire town, not just the school district. We are looking into technology infrastructure upgrade, cabling infrastructure, wired network infrastructure, or wireless network infrastructure are all in desperate need of repair or upgrading, and we have quotes coming in for that too. Our Kiel School roof is the original roof. We mentioned at this last meeting. Mr. Mango had someone come in and look at it. It is definitely in need of repair. We have quotes on that as well. We had the Bloomingdale School District inquire to our school about a shared busing service. They're interested in basically renting our buses when our buses are not in use. And we've had a discussion about that. We are in discussion of upgrading this facility right here, the Calvin School Auditorium. And that's an ongoing discussion right now, but nothing's on the books about that. That's it.
Thanks. Lots going on. Negotiations, shelter here, we did just.
Yeah, we basically talked about the 3 sidebar agreements as well as some of the personnel items that we approved today, the stipends and things like that, so that was the gist of it. So most of the stuff that we talked about was on the agenda.
Delegates, I don't have any updates from the Jersey Schools Association. I didn't get through all the emails. Once the new board gets on board, we'll have the prior governance review next year. I do have dates for the next year, so I will get through this, and we have to schedule that. She works that with the last year, but we waited till March. So I will review it.
I don't have any updates. There was no December meeting. The next meeting